don't see too many longhorns. He looks like a little guy. But over here we've got some calves, and I presume the mother. Maybe that's the mother over here. Hope she doesn't get mad. Despite the rain and the 37 degrees, we're going to visit the prison museum in Colorado, in the old women's prison. This area of Colorado boasts 7 different prisons. I guess they count the county jail, I'm not sure. But they've got a lot of them. Prisons are their industry in this area. Isolation cell. In the laundry area. This is the gas chamber used in the Colorado prison. I moved out into a display building. We're in southwest Colorado, the Black Canyon of the Gunnison. It gets its name from the dark rock that's in this part of the country. Unfortunately, the camera failed right after that last shot. It somehow rebooted itself or whatever, but I was long gone by then. In its own way, the Black Canyon is equal to the Grand Canyon. It was very impressive, very steep sides, a rushing river down at the bottom. Definitely worth a stop if you're in this neighborhood, the southwest corner of Colorado along Highway 50. We're in southwestern Colorado. Now passed into southern Utah, where we'll stop at Arches National Park. Literally surrounded. The Wolf family lived here in the late 1800s, and we're going to see the actual cabin that they lived in. It was the second one that they had built because one of the daughters wanted a wood floor. They were able to maintain a few cattle out here, and there was a source of water. It's called a reef because the men who first named it were seafaring men and often called any impediment to travel a reef. These were large cliffs that made east-west travel very difficult. Capital comes from the fact that some of the formations appear to be dome-like. At the very tip of the rock you can see some petroglyphs left by the ancestors of the, I believe, Navajo or Hopi a formation called Twin Rocks. We're now in Dixie National Forest, still in southern Utah, up on Boulder Mountain, overlooking the valley below us. Still in southern Utah, where the Anasazi Indians lived. One of the names for the Pueblo Indians who lived in this area for about 50 years, sometime between the 700 and 1000 after Christ. Lived in a small village like this. This is a reproduction of what they believed that would look like. One family would live in one room about this size of a small bedroom. I don't normally take pictures of reproductions, but I knew that they had this actual archaeological site here where these people lived for about 50 to 70 years. It's speculated they left because of drought, but this is the actual homes that they lived in. They deliberately burned them when they left, and they're not exactly sure why they did that. These are very small rooms and likely were used for storage. You can see the burnt posts still sticking out of the walls. And at the far end of the building of storage homes, we have a larger room with a fire pit, which would indicate, of course, that people lived in this particular area. Here you can see several rooms in a row, each holding a different family, each with its own fire pit. Still in southern Utah, we'll take a stop at Bryce Canyon National Park. We're at the farthest point from the entrance and the maximum elevation. Oops, glad I wasn't here when this happened. Technically an arch, since it was not formed by a stream. The National Park brochure says that the views here rival any in the park. We're headed to Zion National Park, and the east entrance here has an offset in the road where it's been damaged. Now that has to have been earthquake damage. I've seen pictures of this sort of thing, of course, but I've never actually seen it. You can actually see the crack. I wonder how deep it goes. And just maybe 30 or 40 yards further, another offset. mile-long tunnel in the park. If you have a large RV, a bus, that sort of thing, it'll require an escort. But this isn't the mile-long one. Certainly dark enough. There are regular ventilation shafts along this mile-long tunnel. Only shuttles are allowed in most of the park. It's really impossible to tell how beautiful this is with this small picture that you're getting. This is the river that did all the work. And on the far bank you can see some work by the Civilian Conservation Corps, the CCC, which during the Depression did a lot of work through here to hold back the erosion.